All right, so now we're going to look at how to write a file in Node.js. And one of the things I want to point out is I am going to be putting all these files on GitHub so you guys can reference them and run each of the individual exercises. So I'm going to start creating files actually for the individual lessons. So in this particular case, we're looking at writing a file.js. All right, so Node.js, just like we saw with the event, also has something called FS, which is file system. So it's by default it's part of Node.js's core library. So you can just require FS just like we've done previously. And now if we want to actually write a file, we're going to say fs.write file, and then what we need to do is give it the location to where the project can be found. So this for right now, let me try to do a relative path here to see if this will work. I actually don't even know if this is going to work here, but we're going to give it a name here. We're going to say, we'll just call it test, that's fine. All right, so that's the first argument. And then the second argument is what we are writing. All right, and then the third argument is the actual callback function, which we will pass in an error in case there is an error. So here we're going to say if error So here we just do an if statement. So if an error occurs, this is where we can actually say return something. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do a return console log. We're gonna say console.log something bad happened, and then we can also output the error message. We should probably have a space between this. You can put a fat error like that, so we can say, you know, whatever error occurred. So there's all kinds of different things that can error out. Oh, the file couldn't be written. It couldn't be opened. This, that, and the other thing. So now let's go ahead and do another console log real quick. And we're going to say file successfully created. Now the real question here is, once again, if I can actually use the relative path, and I'm not sure, I don't remember if I can or not, but we're going to try that here. So let's go ahead and kill this this debugger, and I want to make sure that I have this writing file selected. All right, so now let's go ahead and run this here. All right, so it's still running the wrong file here. 1 second. So to actually execute this file, in case those of you out there that are not using Visual Studio Code, I don't really want to debug it directly from this editor here, just in case it confuses anybody. So we're going to run it from this area, from the command line. So we can say node and then request a web page.js. All right, so that's the wrong thing. So that's how we would write, and now we're going to say the right one, which is writing a file. Sorry, I'm human, I make mistakes too. All right, so now you can see file successfully created. That got executed. So now let's go ahead and look at our folder here from our node. And here you can see that the relative path actually works. So when we open up test, we didn't give it a file extension, which is messed up. We should have gave it a file extension. Let's go ahead and delete test there, and let's go ahead and say test.txt, so we give it a proper file extension. Now if we go back to our command line and we run this again, you can see file successfully created. And if we look at the folder, we can now see test as a .txt file, and we actually wrote that. So that's pretty cool. That's actually how we can write stuff. Now let's look at our requested web page example. And what we could actually do is we could even wrap all of this stuff like in a let's see. I don't want to make this too difficult here, but what I could have done, just like we did with writing a file, we could have actually taken this fs write file part, and we could have put that inside the requested web page and written the body of the web page out. So we can even do that now. You know what? Let's do it now. So let's say we could copy this, and then we can go like this, and we're going to take the require statement and put it at the top where it belongs. Okay. All right. So now instead of writing this part, we're actually going to write the body that we have. and it's going to be able to access body from up here. And it's going to be able to do all of that through a JavaScript closure, which has support from within node.js, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and run this here. So file successfully created, just that quick. And when we look at test, we have nothing there. And the reason why is clearly because we didn't execute the right file. So instead of writing a file, we're now doing the request a web page. So when we go ahead and request that now, you can see it printed out like it's supposed to. File created successfully. It still was very quick. It reached across the web, and then it wrote out this entire file. If we do a word wrap here, you can see it's a little bit cleaner. But here's all the HTML for the Hipster Code website. So that's pretty cool. I mean, clearly you can see that Node.js is very fast. When it comes to reading and writing files and everything, it does that extremely fast. All right, guys. That's our request a web page sample as well as writing a file.